My son said, "I don't want your last name anymore. My new dad says you're a loser, and I should take a real man's name." My wife smiled. I said, "Fine." A week later, the family lawyer called. "Ma'am, do you realize what you just let him sign away? I'd been paying $200 a month in child support for 3 years. Every month, like clockwork, while my ex and her new husband posted vacation photos from Cancun and bought my son the latest gaming console. Meanwhile, I was eating ramen in my studio apartment, working overtime to cover the payments and my own rent. The disrespect started small. My son began calling me by my first name instead of dad. Then came the stories about how his stepdad was teaching him to be a real man, how to fix cars, throw a football, stand up for himself. Things I tried to teach him before the divorce, before his mother poisoned him against me. When he showed up to our weekend visit wearing a jersey with his stepdad's last name on it, I knew things had shifted. He barely looked at me during dinner, texting the whole time. When I asked about school, he shrugged. When I suggested we go hiking like we used to, he said his real dad already took him last weekend. That's when he said it, standing in my doorway, refusing to come inside. "I want to change my name. Drop yours, take his. He says you're a loser who can't even afford a real house." My ex stood behind him, arms crossed, that familiar smirk on her face. The same expression she wore when the judge awarded her primary custody and set my support payments. She was already planning her next vacation, I could tell. Her designer purse, the one I'd essentially paid for, hung on her shoulder like a trophy. "He's old enough to make his own choices," she said. "You could fight it, but that'll just make him hate you more. Besides, we both know you can't afford another court battle." I looked at my son, 13 years old, already taller than his mother, wearing shoes that cost more than my weekly grocery budget. Shoes I'd paid for, technically, through that monthly check. "Fine," I said, "if that's what you want." I called my lawyer the next morning. "You're sure about this?" he asked. "Once you sign, there's no going back. This terminates everything." "I'm sure." "Draw up the papers." The name change, the adoption paperwork, all of it. I signed everything without reading the fine print. My ex was thrilled, texting me about how mature I was being, how this was best for everyone, how her husband was already planning to take my son fishing that weekend to celebrate becoming a real family. 7 days later, my phone rang. I was at my second job, stocking shelves at a warehouse, when my ex's lawyer called her. I found out about it later, but I'll never forget the moment she called me, voice shaking with panic. "What did you do?" "I gave you exactly what you wanted," I said calmly. "The paperwork's all filed. Adoption finalized. The child support terminates upon legal adoption by the step-parent. It's standard law. Your lawyer should have caught that before pushing this through." Silence. "Your husband wanted to be his real dad," I continued. "Now he is. Congratulations. That's $200 a month he'll be responsible for now. Plus the college fund I was contributing to, the insurance, medical expenses, all of it. Every single obligation transfers to the adoptive parent." "You can't." "I already did. Judge signed off this morning. It's done." I heard shouting in the background. Her husband's voice getting louder, angrier. "We can't afford." Should have thought about that before teaching my son I was worthless. Or should I say, your husband's son now? Legally speaking, the call ended. I went back to stocking shelves, but I wasn't working that job anymore out of necessity. That night, my phone exploded with messages. My son, suddenly remembering my name, begging me to undo it. My ex, alternating between threats and pleading. Her lawyer trying to find loopholes that didn't exist. But the beautiful thing about the law, once an adoption is finalized, biological parents have no legal obligation. None. I blocked my ex's number. My son's too. If he wanted to talk, he could do it in person with respect. 3 months later, I got a letter. Not from a lawyer, but from someone I wasn't expecting. I couldn't fit what happens next in this short video. Watch the rest down below.